This story I'm bringing to you, and shout out to Caressa for sending it to me, is not going to be surprising or shocking to anybody. It damn sure doesn't shock or surprise me. So, as we all know, Bill Cosby and his attorneys were trying to put a bid in for him to be released from prison because of what's going on with the virus. Out of anybody that should be released from jail, he definitely should be one of them, especially since he went to jail on hearsay. But because of the charges he has, that's what's keeping him there. And because of his age and because of his ailment, he is most likely to get exposed. I was reading the article and it was saying that he has to be pushed around in a wheelchair, like the inmates in there basically take turns pushing him in a wheelchair wherever he needs to go. And if they get exposed to it, then that's real close. That's definitely not the social distancing thing, because it's 6 feet, and if you push somebody in a wheelchair, that's not even 6 inches away. So he definitely would most likely be exposed to it, and that would definitely not be good for him, considering he definitely has underlying health conditions, more than one at that. But the reason why they're saying they're not releasing him from jail or from the prison is because of the charges he has on there. They're basically saying people who have like sex offender charges or sexual assault charges or rape charges on their record, they're not eligible to be released from prison, because that would fall under the category of violent charges. And that's what they got him on, was violent, well, what they would deem to be violent charges, even though, like I said, it was just based on hearsay. There was really no solid evidence. They just wanted to get him in jail. And his attorneys were saying, look, if they don't release him from jail, he's going to die in there. And when I read that part in the article, I said, there it is. That's the part they're gunning for. That is what they're hoping. They are hoping that Bill Cosby dies in jail. That's what they want more than anything, is for him to die. They don't even, like I said, if for some sheer miracle he makes it out of this alive, I'm talking about with the virus, he might end up in Ripley's Believe It or Not. They're banking on this. Now, remember, I just did a video talking about Gloria Allred and how she basically came out and said that Bill Cosby should not be released from prison. Yet you had a whole bunch of people who shouldn't have been released if that was the case, but they let him out anyway. Even if it was just temporary, they were able to be released from jail. Now, as far as Harvey Weinstein goes, as far as we know, because who knows what kind of disappearing act he could have pulled, he's still at Rikers. Now, here's the thing. Got to keep a real close eye on that one. The reason why I say that is because if something happens where Harvey Weinstein somehow mysteriously gets out of jail, look back to this, and we are going to have to go after the Pennsylvania court system, or whatever you want to call it, because that's where he's at, and get them, because Harvey Weinstein has heftier charges to him than Bill Cosby. He has more years under his belt than Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby has 10. He's already done like 2, I think. Harvey Weinstein is just now starting to serve his. And his was like, 23? So keep a watchful eye on this, because if he somehow slips off the back door, then we can call them out on their hypocrisy, and they'll have no other choice but to release Bill Cosby from jail. And maybe even more than just keeping him out of jail because of this quarantine period. Keep him out for good. But like I said, they want nothing more than to see this man rot in jail right now. They are hoping that he is experiencing the worst time, but I haven't really heard anything bad, concerning him. From what I've heard, he's actually doing pretty well, and they're kind of treating him nice in there. So yeah, they don't like that either. But they really want him to confess and, plead guilty, but he's standing his ground. His attorneys are basically saying, nope, we're not going to do that. We don't care if it is a plea deal and he can get lesser time, or he can get out of jail today. They're probably like, Mr. Cosby, you can walk out of jail today a free man. All you got to do is say that you did it. No, if he didn't do it, he did not do it. And if that means I have to spend 10 years in here, so be it. And I think that's what he said. If he has to spend 10 years of his life in there, and he gets out when he's like, 93? Hey, it is what it is. But he's like, I'm not going to sit here and lie just so I can get out. You know how many people will probably do that, though? But look at what will happen to their life after the fact. I'm talking about people who are way younger than him, who have way more life to live. then they got those charges on them, and it messes them up, and it stays on their record for such a long time, to the point where it may not even come off their record, depending on what the charge is. That messes up any type of gainful employment they might get or try to get. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, they want Cosby there. They said, nope, he's not leaving. He's staying right there. We don't care if he has an underlying condition or not. And it's crazy because he has an underlying condition. He's probably more at risk than any of the other prisoners in there. He's probably the oldest one there, or one of the oldest ones there. And notice that I don't know if they gave out the numbers of what prisoners was released from that jail or how many was released, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kept most of them there because he's there, in hopes that the virus gets in there and that it gets him. Now, I think that he's in his own separate wing. I'm not entirely sure. We know they gave one for Harvey Weinstein, but I think Cosby has one as well. I don't think he shares a cell with anybody. They need to keep him over there for the time being and keep that place as isolated as possible. That means they need to check to make sure whoever's going over there is not tested positive for that virus. Not one person, not one guard, or anybody who comes visit him. Well, I don't think anybody's going to visit anybody in the prison cells right now as it stands anyway, because of what's going on. So they don't have to worry about that. But they need to make sure that the guards who are working there are healthy, that they're not sick. And watching, it's so many underhanded things that they probably try to pull. Like, a lot of them are just swirling through my head right now, but I just can't project them right now on this video. But I'm willing to bet they'll do a lot of dirty, underhanded things, the hopes that it gets to that prison where he's at. That way they can chomp at the bit and hope that he gets it. Because if Bill Cosby gets this, with his age and his underlying conditions, they're right, he won't make it. I'm just being honest. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on. I'll talk to you in the next one.